Okay, so recording is on. Let's get settled and then let's start so that we can wrap up together for this one. For this one because one of the semesters that I followed it back to back onto the last day. I want to first of all commend your class, your set BSAQ301. It's actually encouraging the approach that you took, right? The approach that you have in attending lectures, or should I say, the attitude you have to lectures. Okay, I want to believe that is the same for all the other courses. So we together here now are going to discuss and then try and wrap up the course for this semester. I think we stopped at what now? We started discussing what? Somebody talked to me about what our last thing was. Let me know. Our last point of discussion was. Let me know whether you are even with me. This class is going to be short, very short. Not going to be long at all. Okay. All right. So we stopped at law of contract. I want to believe. So I want to believe. We finished law of contract. So we're supposed to discuss agency laws. Where do I have it? I mean, I don't have. You mean I don't have anything on agency laws here? And then we'll look at this intellectual property law, and let's see how we can break them down. Two of them. Okay. So that's it. Confirm that you're with me. You're not talking as if you're with me. I've asked questions. Nobody has answered. Nobody has said anything. Eh? Is that how you want to do it so that I would know? Because I'm not this class. I don't want to. I didn't plan to have this class. But I just want to wrap up with you since I've already given you a graded forum. I've given you graded forum, and your graded forum is from the intellectual property laws. So I want to believe you must have even finished studying it because there may not be any need for me to come and do anything if you understand what you study. Yeah, so but I still came up. I'm still coming up right now to have this class with you. So don't be quiet on me, please. So
Hello, sir. We can hear you, sir.
all right. So let's discuss agency. What is agency? What do you understand by the term agency? Hmm? Someone talk to me now. What do you understand by the term agency? Agency.
Agency is an organization established to provide a particular service.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you for that perspective. Any other perspective, please? Then we will not focus. Or I will now bring you back to the perspective that this particular agency is about. Okay. That word is used in society or in different settings to mean different things. Like our colleague here told us that one is in a particular setting also.
And it's also a
Okay.
business.
Yeah, you can see them as a different form. But now, generally speaking, from the perspective of the law, that is the one I want you to hold now. Okay, follow me very well. Agency is that kind of a contract that involves an agent. So the question now should be, in this kind of contract, who is an agent? Now, this same word agent is used in many settings, so don't mix them up. Okay. Or remember when we were talking about law of contract, what's a contract? Somebody might be just be looking at that kind of government contract. No. So the same thing here, agent. Who is an agent? Okay, so in a contract where we involve an agent, simply one word that you can use could be like a representative. Okay, let me bring it down a bit so that I don't just deform it. A representative. One word that you can borrow there is what? A representative. Okay, that means there are two parties, Mr. A and Mr. B. And Mr. A is the owner of the goods, for example. A very good example now, which is not limited to that, is the kind of agents we meet when we're talking about renting houses. I believe everybody here is familiar with that. The kind of agents you meet when you're renting houses is an agent. That's a pure example of what agency is in the eye of the law. Okay, a person or an organization, it can be as an individual or as a company that stands between the owner and the owner's client. So if you want to rent a house and you are working with the agent or the caretaker is an agent, what's happening is that the landlord, the landlord, the person will now become a tenant of the landlord, not a tenant of the caretaker or the agent, right? The person becomes a tenant to the landlord. So the landlord is the first party. In the law, now when we say a party, one party, second party, third party, we are referring to the people that are involved in it. Okay. We are referring to the people that are involved in a particular event. So we can say who is the third party and so on and so forth. So in this case now, we have the first party, the landlord. This one is in the case of a house now. What if it's in the case of just buy goods or sell goods for somebody? Now the first party is called the principal. So the second party is the agent. The agent is acting on behalf of the principal when dealing with third parties. The third party is the client. So this relationship is what we call agency. So when you say agency, you're saying agency is a relationship between two parties. This relationship is between the principal this between the principal and the agent. Between the principal and the agent. Are you? I know you're. I hope you're with me, right? Good. So this is the relationship between the principal and the agent. So we have So if you want to define it now, you will say agency is a relationship. The relationship that exists is the relationship that exists between two parties, where one party is known as the principal and the other party is what? The agent, whereby the agent can carry out business dealings on behalf of the principal with third parties. The principal doesn't have to know you. Oga landlord doesn't need to know you. As far as the caretaker is there, right? I hope you understand that now. The same thing with companies, for instance. Like employees now are all agents of their company because they represent the company. Okay. It could be any function, whether specialized function or whatsoever. So that's what I just explained here. Okay, agents just help you do something and so on and so forth. There are actually two classes anyway, but look at it from here. So agency is what now? I think I have a note on that. I'm wondering why it's not showing. Fine, that is the same agency model that you have in CG. That's this same agency you have here is the same agency model you have in corporate governance. I think that's the exact definition, the same one, because in that corporate governance, the shareholders are the owners of the company, but the managers are representing them to carry out business with third parties. So those shareholders are the agents of, sorry, the managers are the agents to the shareholders, who in that sense are the principal. That's exactly what we're talking about here. So where you hear agency risks, agency risk now, this way you understand it very well, because it comes to a point whereby the agent can start acting in his own best interest instead of the principal's best interest. That's where the risk of this happening is what we call agency risk, and that's one of the theoretical basis for corporate governance, like we studied before, right? So that corporate governance now has agency theory as one of its theoretical bases. So I hope I've answered that question. Thank you very much for posting it while I'm talking about it. Okay, so that's exactly what we're talking about now. There are many other senses where that same word can be used. Okay, there may be issues. There may be said maybe other many other senses. Agents in different senses, clearing and forwarding agents. Okay, and so on and so forth. Insurance brokering. There are some issues whereby you cannot just do it by yourself. Somebody must have to stand in between you and the dealer. They are all different situations. There are two levels actually. Whether the agent is a servant or whether the agent is an independent contractor. These are two different levels. I want you to see here because you might see it in your exam. I can't really say, but maybe. Okay. Who is a servant? A servant is like a direct employee. A direct employee where the principal can control his time, the way his work is, how much and everything. But an independent contractor is just like it just that's what it is. That's what it is. A master is in his own case. Okay, is a master, is an expert. He can determine how he wants to get the job done. It's not the business of the principal how the job should be done, but the job gets done in the end. Okay, so if you are working with Jumia, for example, Jumia can now deal with a logistic company to help them transport your order from wherever the supply location is to the delivery location, right? So that logistics company now is an agent, but for logistics service. But that's an independent contractor because they only have the boundaries between your work, but they are the ones that determine how they will do it. They can determine to put it on the road or fly it or do anything they want to do, but the objective is that they should get the job done. So take note of these two types of agents categories where we have them as um, a servant, an agent as a servant, or an agent as an independent contractor. Okay, so that's almost all the things that you need to know about this. There are two major aspects following under this, because when issues are being brought up before the law, is around where there might be breaches when somebody can mess up. So there are, what you will see now is that agents are supposed to have duties to their principals. Principals in turn, they're supposed to have duties to their agent, and this binds all situations that have things like this in common. So look at a few examples. So number one, the agents should obey the lawful instructions of their principal. Okay, agents should exercise due care and skill. Okay, agents should act personally. This one is especially in the case of um an agent that is a servant, not an independent contractor. Okay, they should act personally. They should act in good faith. Okay, avoiding conflict of interest, undisclosed profit, bribes, all those kind of things that you're making, trying to make extra money. No, they should keep proper account. These are basically things. Okay, those are basically. There should be more somewhere there. Yes, look at more examples. You say in addition to these common law duties owed by the principal, commercial agents involving the sale of goods now, they should perform the following duties. You can read them up very quickly. You can see that Okay, a commercial agent must look after the interests of his or her principal. They must make proper effort to negotiate where appropriate and then conclude the transactions. They must communicate to their principal all necessary information available to them. This is in your courseware, so you can see it there. They must comply with reasonable instructions given by the principal. So all the things I've read now, both from this section and from this section, are duties that the agent have to the principal. Now, there's something called ultra virus. Let me explain it here. Okay, if you go deep down into the law, into the law courses now, that's when they will now start telling you how an agency is formed, agency by appointment, agency by this, agency by that. No problem. All of these issues around ultra virus, okay, they come up. What is this? Now, when a principal and an agent are trying to come up with that contract, there are things that we have said that you will do as an agent. You are going to do this, going to do that, going to do that. Now, if the agent goes to the field and start carrying out other actions that with the agent that is supposed to affect the principal without the principal's knowledge, without any fair information or approval, that is what they call ultra virus. So, so it will now be for the principal to say, okay, no problem, I approve of it. That's what they call that kind of an approval after something has been done. It's what they call ratification. Okay, I hope you got that. That kind of an approval after you've already done something and then now comes, okay, it's okay, it's approved. That's what they call ratification. Okay, so we said, look at this here. He said the principal is only bound to the third party if the agent acts within the confines of his authority. That's when the principal can accept it. But some things can happen that are outside that boundary. But the principal now will now either ratify them or say that one no concern me. I hope you get it right. So those are the kind of issues that are ultra vires. Those are the kind of things that are ultra vires. Did I tell you to do this, something like that, or that? So the last part of this should be the duty of the principal now to the agent. And we can see that here. Number one, the principal must act dutifully and in good faith. Number two, the principal will do what now? The principal will provide what now? The agent with all documentation, okay, concerning the goods that they want to sell, that is supposed to handle. The principal is to provide, is to also to obtain all necessary information from the agent. The principal should notify the agent within a reasonable period of time, okay, if the usual volume of trade is likely to be significantly reduced. Just read all these things and then you'll be good to go. That's all about agency. See, in 17 minutes, we're done with agency laws. So finally for tonight, right? Give me a minute, please. Second. All right, so guys, thank you so much. That's it. Then the last topic here, intellectual property law, a very interesting area, in this course, okay? And I want you to pay attention to it. Thank you, Lord. Oh, thank you, Lord. So I want you to pay attention to it. It's very interesting. Intellectual property, what it is, why should it be a matter before the law? Why should the government protect it? Why should it be an asset? What are the branches of it? And what are the aspects that the law, the rights extend to? Okay. And each of those branches have their own kind of laws of copyright, laws of patent, laws relating to trademarks. So you have to just read and understand all of these things. differently and where they fall. Okay, I wish I had time. I would have drafted a model. I wanted to come up with a model. I wanted to come up with a model that depicts a model that explains this thing in a diagram. Let me see. Let me see if I can still do that very quickly. No, there's no point. We won't have all that time to do that unless come up with a model that will make you understand how they are related. But first of all, what is intellectual property? Right? What is intellectual property? Somebody wants to say something. Let me give you a chance now that I'm in the middle of something. Go on.
Okay, sir. So I wanted to make an appeal
Appeal
concerning the
on what
model
we're
you
discussing
said.
now. The model I
Yes,
want to
sir.
draft out. We'll
Yes,
draft it
sir.
together.
If there's no time now, you can do it and send to us on the WhatsApp, please, sir.
It's not gonna be a it's something I wanted us to draw. If I had the time, I would have wanted to draw it together, easy to
Okay, sir.
explain how they are related, so that we understand the branches
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
of the whole thing. But let's look at it and then we'll come back to it, right? Let's look at it, we'll come back to it, and then let's see. Okay, so when we say model, it makes you understand everything without by just at a glance. You understand everything. You don't have to start cramming. Oh, where is this one? Where is that one? What is industrial property? What is industrial design? What is intellectual property? We have like IP, two different things that are like IP in this subject. We also have another industrial something again. All those things can be confusing. Then you start looking at what each of them is. Okay. So, but first of all, what is intellectual property? Intellectual property, intellect, property of the intellect. Intellect has to do with your mind, your reasoning, your creativity, right? So that creativity of the mind, okay, that you bring into business. If it has not entered into business, it's not yet okay. So you can just say creations of the mind that's used in commerce. It's as simple as that. Intellectual property is creation of the mind that's used in commerce. Okay, so you see it in artwork, in books. Somebody think of the book, in designs like symbols, images, names, your business name, Coca-Cola. That's like an intellectual property. You don't some designs, the way I design my Android, the way BlackBerry used to design their phones, for instance, or the way Toyota designs particular kind of cars. Are you getting it now? The way those tailors design a particular brand, all of those are intellectual property. You steal my design, we charge you for copyright. I hope I'm not oh my goodness. Sorry about this. Okay. I think I forgot that I was not on the main app. All right, so we're back here now. Good. So that's it. That is what it is. Okay, yeah. So what did I say it is? Creations. Remember that now. Creations of the mind used in commerce. Okay, that can express itself in two ways, right? We said the property there is that information, the information inside that thing. Are you getting it? Like a caterer now, a recipe. What's making Mr. Biggs? Mr. Biggs still existing. Anyway, what's making Mr. Biggs meat pie like this? Are you getting me now? The recipe. Coca-Cola, we say the Coca-Cola recipe is only in the Coca-Cola family. Nobody knows that recipe for Coca-Cola. These are creative. Are you following me now? So that's where the thing is. The major thing is not in the bottle, it's not in the bottle or in the drink. It's the formula that gave birth to that drink. That's where the major thing is. As a matter of fact, the bottle design is another aspect of intellectual property in itself. That was why Coca-Cola sued Pop Cola one time for the design of the bottle and the way they designed the name, right? Because it was almost like you cannot even differentiate between which one is which of this Coke is Coca-Cola, which one is Pop Cola. So they had to sue, and that's court, that case in court. It's why if now you can differentiate between the way the bottles look, even the plastic bottles, right? So we said it's not in the copy, just the information that is reflecting there. That's the main thing there. Okay. Yes. So this is a long topic, so you need to study it. Okay. Now, why? Why do countries come up with laws to protect it? Okay. I think I have some part of my note that I've brought some of these things out to make it easier to understand. If I haven't, oh, I haven't. The issue on public policy is still lying ahead of us. Oh my goodness. See, you have to study. Let me just tell you now. Study public policy also. Public policy is ahead. That's one topic that I've not touched. Study public policy, please. Okay, so let's go on. Two reasons. Two reasons. Two reasons why governments of countries have to protect it. Number one, to okay, to protect the rights of the creators. Are you with me? That is to give statutory expression. I mean, to protect their rights by the law. They have two types of rights on every of their work, and that is moral right and economic right. Economic right simply means they have the right to make money from these things. So you cannot deny them that right by allowing everybody access to it. The moral rights is that feeling of accomplishment and of achievement or of contribution to the society. They have the right to enjoy that feeling. But when it's not everywhere, they won't even know who solved this problem or who brought this out. Okay. So to protect their rights, the rights of the people now, that's one. Then the second reason now is to promote creativity. To promote creativity, okay? Promote creativity to make people wow. Once we do things like this, we'll be rewarded in this way. So that alone itself is to encourage the promotion of creativity. So there are there are two what do you call it now? There are two branches, two major branches, right? I think that's where I want to do that divide. Okay, we have industrial property on the left hand, copyright on the right hand. Industrial property has how many parts? It has patents, trademarks, industrial designs, and what's this one? Just leave that one. I can't even say. Then copyright have plenty of things listed under it: novels, poems, plays, films, music, art, paintings, drawings, sculpture. Okay, computer programming, multimedia, and so on and so forth. Okay, so if you want to draft something like that in the form of a model, you can now say that's when I was saying let's see what I don't have time for this. I need to just jump to public policy because I realized that we have not so talked about it. So let's insert a text box. Let's insert the text box and do some quick work. I don't know why it's slow now. Okay. And do some quick work here. Now that should be intellectual property, right? And then that should be intellectual property. And then it's broken down into two: industrial property and what? And what? Somebody tell me what it is. What did we say
Copyright.
just now? Oh,
Copyrights.
thank you. Copyright. So this is how you're going to study it so that you understand without mixing them up. So this industrial property now has a number of branches under it. Let me see if I can use this to just do something that can match here very fast. Okay. So we have this one on the right and then this one on the left. So that's the basically how it's broken. And then underneath we have a number of things. So don't mix them up, because if you don't look at them like this holistically, you may now start mixing them up. Industrial design. Can you see that? Industrial design, patents, trademarks. I think these are the most common ones, yeah. Patent is for inventions, okay. Patent for inventions. When I invent a new thing, then you know that I need to enjoy the thing very well. My family, even my children, need to my inventions, right? Then we have trademark. Trademark is like a business symbol. You have to find all those things by yourself and understand. So all these ones are they are like let's see what we got here. Let's just borrow this tool and do that now. So this one they like come under this. Okay. Don't worry, I'm gonna do something rough here, okay? So just for you to get the hang of everything. Ah, why is it like this now? Why is it so manage it like this? Okay. Yeah, so this is just like a very short model that I can give you. Now, under copyright, I want to put them under two classes because that's how they are put in this courseware. You have something like the listings now, the Berne Convention, and other issues. Put it like this Berne Convention was like when some nations of the world gathered some years back and said, okay, these are the issues that we are going to begin to protect under copyright for those two reasons that we talked about. We said number one, to protect the rights of the people that are bringing up these things, and number two, to also to also promote creativity. So they listed out a lot of issues. Let's say, let's just call this one others, so that you will know the items that are listed in the Berne Convention and the items that are not listed in the in the Berne Convention. Okay, I don't mix them up. All right, so where are the shapes? So this is pretty much almost everything you need to just bother yourself about when it has to do with why now? Are you with me? Good.
Yes,
So
sir.
do you understand this breakdown? That's everything
Yeah.
about it.
Yes, sir.
That's the entire chapter is what what you are seeing here
Okay.
right now. So it's for you now to now dig deep with understanding, right? Dig deep with understanding. So let's go back to the courseware and see how this applies, right? Let's go back to the courseware and see how this applies. So you know exactly what you are doing with this map alone. Let me see how fast I can switch there so that we'll look at it. So the question now will be, what is industrial property? What is copyright? So copyright is in the area of arts and literature. Sure, you know music is under literature and art now. Drama is under literature and art. Drawings and paintings, they are all under literature and art. Oh, there are people who wants to join the call. Okay, all those music, arts, writing, literature now. Write your research or write a story or write a book, they're all under copyright. Act a drama, act a script, bring some dance steps or dance moves, a choreography. You know this choreography where people dance together. All of these things are all under copyright. There are some that are listed in that they listed when they gathered that time to do that meeting. Take note of it. Then there are some that are not listed. I think there are just two of them that are not listed. Computer programs and multimedia are not listed. So those are the ones that will classify under others. Then here, the Berne Convention list has a long list. So we have drama, poetry. We'll see them back in our courseware. Now, industrial design, all these ones are the ones that are used in that are not they are not literature. So the other aspect of creativity. Maybe I create a product or I create a brand, a business brand, stuff like that. So that's what we have under industrial property. So which one is industrial design? Which one? Which one is patent? Which one is trademark? So I want us to look at them differently from the courseware. So I know in industrial design has to do with those designs like shapes, patterns. I just give an example just now of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, the Coca-Cola logo. That should be a design as well. But the major, what we are looking at here is the shape of Coca-Cola bottle, right? I told you that once upon a time, that should be between 2000, between 2020 and now, Coca-Cola had to sue. Coca-Cola as a company had to sue Pop Cola because of the shape of their bottle, right? I was not. So I think after then we started having we started having okay, started having a little bit of difference in their shapes. So this page is trying to tell you, it's trying to show you how, okay, they'll tell you what they are about. But let's look at a few examples about them. So here they are giving us examples: patents, industrial designs, blah blah blah, aesthetic creations, blah blah blah. Just read them out. You already understand what from the diagram that I did now. You already understand what they are: books, music, paintings, sculptures, films, technology-based work such as computer programs, electronic databases. All of those things are under copyright. That's where the issue of plagiarism comes about. You steal somebody's work and then you claim it to be your own. The person can now sue you and say, no, that was my finding. That was my okay. So the author has the right to an extent to know what he can limit or allow you to do with his or her work. Okay. So you can read up all of these inventions, ideas, okay, blah blah blah. There's no okay. So here I was telling you about the Berne Convention for the protection of literary and artistic works for Article 2. The Article 2 of that particular convention listed out a number of items. So we said the expression literary and artistic works shall include every production in the literary, scientific, and artistic domain, whatever may be the mode of expression or form of expression. Look at them here: books, pamphlets, and writings, lectures, addresses, sermons. Like these, my lectures now, if I put them on YouTube, good. You see the way you go and copy somebody's YouTube, download somebody's video on YouTube and post on your own channel. YouTube will now tell you copyright claims. That's exactly what we're talking about. So look at many examples. Okay, photographic works, works of applied art, translations and adaptations, collections of literary and music, and so on and so forth. Okay, so it's a number of countries, okay, that gather here to accept this. But look at the others now. Look at the others. I said items which are not enlisted in the Berne Convention, but which can arguably be regarded as intellectual properties. So we have them as number one, computer programs. They're not enlisted there. Then number two, multimedia, multimedia production. So that is where that ends. Okay. We're supposed to now discuss the rights. We said there are two types of rights: economic rights and moral rights. But there's an extent to which these things are also given, right? I said economic rights is the right that the person has to make money from what it is. Okay. Moral rights is that right that you have to ownership. You know the way you feel when you have, yeah, even the law recognizes that. So look at the degree, look at the extent now. Based on these rights now, the owner of a copyright work can allow you or forbid you to do some things about the work in different ways. Number one, can prevent you from reproducing it. Don't reprint the book. Don't pirate my music. Don't distribute copies or distribute copies. Anyone can allow you or disallow you. Don't use it for public performance or use it. It can allow you or disallow. Don't broadcast them in public places. Don't translate into other languages, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's what this entire chapter is about. Okay, read all of this also on your own. Then translation and adaptation, they're also included in copyrights. Okay, the moral rights also came, they are discussed again, and the limitations to the rights. All right, let's jump to the last part of it. Let's see what we got there. Licenses, voluntary and non-voluntary licenses. There are still a lot of questions that I have not harnessed inside this particular chapter. The chapter has many questions. Okay, I wonder why who wrote this material like this. Anyway, it's fine. Okay, put everything in one place so that if we're dealing with copyright, let's know that we're dealing with copyright and we're done with it. And then if we're moving to industrial right, let's know that we're moving to industrial right and we're dealing with it. So now we're talking about industrial design rights, right? See now, the way they put it here, you will not know that that's the way it's broken down, the way I gave it to you there. Okay. Industrial design consists of the creation of a shape, a configuration, a composition of pattern or color. You see that logo, all those kind of things. Could be 3D pattern or a 2D pattern, and so on and so forth. You know what patent is already? Types of patents: utility patents, design patents, plant patents. Utility patents protect inventions that have a specific function, like phones, you know, it has a function. Fan, television, computer. Hey, this one invented computer. Hey, this one invented a car. Hey, they invented an aeroplane. That's utility patent. Okay. But when we're looking at something now, the design, the way it appears, then that's a design patent. Or when we're looking at these ones are for plants actually. When you do a GMO something and then you modify a particular kind of breed to get something like that. Yeah, that's when you now start having all of those things. Okay. Yeah, somebody is saying network issue. Not tonight, man. Okay, so our time is running out. Okay, so you can also read about trademark. Trademark is a brand sign, like a branding tool, like right? When you see that good mark, that mark now, you know this one is Nike, or you see Toyota, the way Toyota emblem is, or Mercedes Benz. Cars are the ones that usually like these things very well. Okay, they put it at the front of their this thing, just on this thing is Toyota car you're driving. So trademarks protect the names. Okay, now and it's the identifying marks of a product. So you know Samsung the way it is. That even if it's a fake Samsung and I don't spell it correctly or I write it in the wrong way, you will know that this one is this logo, this trademark is not Samsung, something like that. So that sign, that symbol that identifies a particular brand, okay, it's what is called trademark. Okay, so we said there are strict laws in place to protect intellectual property rights. Okay, and now when these rights are violated, this is where it comes to play. It's important you hire an intellectual property lawyer. Okay, they said an experienced attorney can help you sue for damages. I gave you examples already. And any money that you have lost as a result of that thing, then you get paid back for it. That's all. Wow. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this topic. But I want us to look at finally for today or for the entire course. I want us to look at public policy. Public policy. Okay, so you did business policy in BSAQ 201. The same way you did business policy in BSAQ 201. That's the same way we have public policy. Any question? Any question? I'll come to you. Okay, just give me some minutes. I'll soon run off. Any question on IP or intellectual properties? Okay, just read deep. It'll be good. But now looking at public policy, definitely from your 200 level, you have learned that policies are guides to ideas, guides to actions, right? Basic guides, guidelines, or things that guide people when they are acting on behalf of someone else, or on behalf of an objective, or on behalf of the people or government. So in government now, government is run by agencies. Government is like the government is like you're managing resources on behalf of the people. So you need guidelines that will guide how those things are used. So that's where we have public policy. So many of you are aware with Nigerian policies around banking policies, around sharing of the money, Uh, all right. So when we're saying BGS, business, government, and society, we're looking at government, and we're looking at government under two wings. Number one, the legal aspect. Number two, the political aspect. So that political aspect is what gives birth to the term public public policy, right? So you have to read all of these as well. I've told you what policy is. So we said policy, rules that the government make, the rules that exist in the government, so that government representatives can have those rules to guide them when making decisions. Okay, we said here, look at this. Government gets involved in business activities in quite a number of ways. They do that in many ways. We've seen many ways. So they have three major objectives for doing so. Number one, either they want to protect the parties from others, or they want to have a regulatory, they want to regulate, and then, or they want to facilitate. So these are three objectives you should know as to how the objectives as to why the government gets involved in business activities. So we said here, public policy is the principled guide which influences the decisions and actions of all representatives of government, from the president to the least representative of government, to the cleaner in civil service, and to the messenger in civil service. Right? Somebody said they cannot hear me. I don't know how you tell them to go off the call and come back. They confirm that you can all hear me. Can you hear me? I'm talking to myself.
I can hear you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. So it's the person now that has an issue with our network. Okay, so that's it. Types of classification of policies. Know this one and no piece. So distributive policies, the one they used to share revenue, national revenue, that's it. Distributive policies. Okay, allocation of resources, good. Regulatory policies, the one they used to regulate and control things. Constituent policies, policies that come up as a form of a law from the House of Rep. Then miscellaneous policies, any policy that doesn't fall under any of these three is considered to be what? Miscellaneous policies. I think that brings us to the end of this course. I'm not going to do more than this for tonight. I want to appreciate you all for your time. Okay, see, study all of this, study your books, read well. This is our last contact for the semester. I've told you to study new, because this set, the advice I'll give to you is that examinations this time around will take new questions. New questions. Almost all the questions are going to be new. So when you look at the past questions, you should know the areas that have not been touched before from every chapter. Areas that have not been touched before. That's where you should focus on. Another advice I'm going to give to you: go and study all the assignment questions in all the both the ones you answered, because the assignment questions are I've said choose only one, right? It simply means that there are others. There are other questions that I did not choose. So go and study all of them that are there and learn how they are. Maybe you can get one or two tips that can help you in your exams. So study all the assignment questions, all the questions in your individual assignment. I think there are about 3 or so, right? It's cracking. Now it's cracking. Give me a second, please. Okay, so I said go and study all the questions in your assignment and your group assignment. And by the time you'll be taking your quiz, also study the question that you will see. They are also going to reflect, some of them are going to reflect also in your courseware. I see some of you are crying for the number of marks that we. That's 15 mark. 15 mark. 15 mark is not joke, and you have to earn it. That's why it has to be 13. When it was 5 marks, I used to give them. I give them the last set. I give the last set 20 questions for 5 minutes. Ah, I gave them how many questions? Yes, 20 questions for 5 minutes. That's what I gave to them last semester. And I got people who got 5/5. 4.5, 4.75 over 5. So you can do it. Okay. You can do it. Just make sure that you don't get caught up. Do your best to read fast. You have like 30 or 40 seconds per question. And they're all simple. Okay. You don't have to get 15 or 15. Just get an A. A starts from 70%. 70% of 15 marks is what? Hmm? Is what? 70% of 15 marks should be around 105, right? 10.5. So once you score 11 and above, you have scored A in your test in that particular one. Okay, so that's that. So it has not opened yet. The clock is still ticking. I like the way I usually set my quiz. I will set it ahead. You'll be seeing it, but you cannot start to be ticking. So your heart to be beat as it's ticking, your heart to be beating. And this time around it's 15 marks, not 5 marks anymore. So when you launch on it, you make sure you bribe MTN or Glue so that they'll be facing you, and then you tell anybody shift and make sure you submit. Okay, because if you don't submit and it bounces, you have thrown away 15 marks. So you're just gonna start crying, correct? Because okay, so there are 2 attempts. You do the first time, you repeat it again, you know, stuff like that. All right, guys. It's been a long ride. Wow, this semester started like start now, start now, start now.